And then, because the important thing is I don't know how necessary it is that we take minutes of the meeting as well. Is that a big deal for anyone that we don't take minutes?
Probably should take notes. It doesn't have to be minutes per se, right?
Okay, who wants to take notes? And I think that's a good idea. Notes. Good way to. Hey,
I can attempt to type, but if others type as well, then we can put them together.
okay.
I'll do my best, and then I'll ask questions if I miss something.
Okay, very good.
Holly, if you 1 second, Michael. Holly, if you do a Google Doc and just drop the link.
Oh no, we're in trouble now. Google Docs haven't done that.
Okay, no.
Unless that's set up for this group.
Okay, no problem.
If there's something set up, then I can do that. But I don't got that set up myself.
And I guess I'm going to be kind of conducting the meeting tonight. But this will be the last meeting I'll be doing that because I am not qualified really to do this. And hopefully by the end of the meeting, we'll find someone either here or we could hunt somebody down to conduct the next one in March. And I've been through this once before, so I know a little bit, but not enough. And so when I sent out the information, I said at the initial gathering, we seek to do 4 things, and these are my ideas, and maybe you might want to add to those 4 items that I mentioned in the letter I sent out, the invitation. But the first one was kind of the review, the summary of the 2007 planning efforts. But I don't know if that's important at all.
Well, it would be helpful to me because so I read the materials, but it's not clear to me, did a planning effort, for example, go forward or did it stop? And if it did go forward, what happened? Blah, blah, blah.
It stopped.
Okay. So the grant was withdrawn?
Was withdrawn.
Okay. Because of the city of Hammond.
City of Hammond.
Right.
Then did the city of Hammond ever pursue a grant?
No, and that was never in their minds. They just wanted to shut it down. And and it's surprising because city of Hammond was more informed about what was going on than anybody else was. And because we made special Dr. White, I was working with her, and we had meetings. We met with folks from Hammond, and so so I don't know what the city of Hammond's letter was about. I couldn't understand it. Maybe I have no idea, but I think they just wanted to blow it up, and I just I couldn't conceive of anyone throwing away $67,000. I just couldn't. I would never have thought that. But anyway, that happened to me, and
so since then, the city of Hammond has not pursued a LAIR grant. It sounds like they did have so there was a lot of Army Corps work on some aquatic restoration.
That was
at that time.
Yeah, at that time we and just before that we had we came up with our introduction. I don't know if you can see this, but
yes, I see it. I see the top of it.
Okay, okay.
Oh, there you go. It's a
Yeah.
Wolf Lake vision.
Yeah, vision document, and this we prepared in all of 2000, and yeah, I think it was just 2000, and this document came out in May of 2001. Um, and so we had a lot of things going on there. We had, I would say, an average turnout of 70 people to develop this. Um, and so there was a lot of activity in that area at that time. And I just wanted to keep moving that effort forward. And this their response to our efforts kind of just blew it out of the water. And um, since then, uh, the Indiana DNR no longer uh, funds these efforts. It's turned over to IDEM, and I don't know uh, why that happened. I've never.
So, but I saw there was a subsequent email that you forwarded from someone who said the Lair program, the Lake and Reservoir, is that Lake and Reservoir Enhancement Program still exists through DNR?
Um, let me see.
I looked at their website.
Responsibility is turned over to Indiana Department of Environmental Management. And the person responsible for that, I talked to her, and she couldn't make the meeting, but she said if you could have it earlier, because I think she's in the Eastern time zone, and so she said, "Oh, campus."
So
But
do you have the name there, Michael?
yes, Lindsay,
Lindsay?
yes, Lindsay, Hilton, Hylton, Adams. Last name is Adams. And so, but anyway, we had a nice exchange, and she seemed interested. And so I told her that if we could record the meeting, that I would send her the information for background. And so I plan to do that.
Okay. So what I noticed on the IDEM website is they offer watershed planning grants through their 205J program.
Yeah.
Is that?
And I'm not familiar with that program. And
okay.
And that's one that Tom Bakula sent to us, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was Tom. And so I haven't researched that at all, and I plan to do so maybe after, if I get some time, and find out who the people are and what they do, what they offer. But that was really nice of Tom to do that, and that helped me out. And with IDEM, I just went to their website, and they listed all their watershed specialists according to county. So that was a and that's how I got Lindsay's name. But it's so okay. Anything else about the good old days?
I see that Terry Stiegel has a question in the chat. Who are the Hammond officials that did not follow through on the grant?
So that would have been Ron Novak. And he's still there. So, and he's younger than I am, so there'll never be a time when he's not there, and I'm still alive.
So did I hear you say Ron Novak?
Yes.
And was he an elected official or a city employee?
He's a does he run for office? No, I think he's appointed, and
Oh, like a trust, like
he's
a
kind of an environmental manager for the city of Hammond. I think that's his title. But and I find him very difficult to work with. And
still to this day.
yes, and I have no idea why. But it's not, I don't think it's me. I don't think it's at first I thought it was me, but then no, it's not. I mean, it's he's I think other people find him difficult to work with. I think US EPA had a hard time working with him, and because I've heard the complaints, so I think he's just very difficult to work with.
Is he someone, well, okay, I realize we're being recorded and we need to be diplomatic and we need to think long term about the people that we must collaborate with one way or another. But nevertheless, I've been thinking about this a lot. I know that in recent years, I don't know how many years, but in recent years, the city of Hammond has financed the annual November meeting, the advisory meeting. So an application for funding for that is made each year, and the city council always okays it. So they are at least nominally on board with what Ali is doing. But on the other hand, there is this very difficult history where you've got, this 2007 letter from the then head of the city council claiming that they had never known about this grant that you'd applied for at all. And, you and I have corresponded about this, Michael, and you said, no, they knew very well. They were notified at every stage of the process. But the bottom line is, what do we do? How do we get them to work with us instead of against us? How can we work with them in a way that is respectful, but also helps us to get something accomplished on behalf of the Wolf Lake Watershed? I know there was some discussion and there was some discussion about hiring a consultant or somebody who could serve as a mediator in these discussions with Hammond in the year ahead. And
that's why we're having the meeting. Meeting there.
Right. And I know that was it the Legacy Foundation, Michael, that was approached about whether their grant money could be repurposed for that, and they said no? Or am I misremembering that?
Oh, I think that could be right.
Yeah.
I had a lot of difficulty in deciding whether I should send out that information or not, but then I thought, well, that's the problem, and we have to deal with it. And I don't like to deal with names and that, but
well, I think it provides, I mean, we're just trying to paint the picture, especially for those of us who weren't involved at all.
Right.
Like for me, it's just to know who the players were, what has happened to date. It is facts. We're just trying to put some, timelines and facts together so we understand the situation that we were in and move forward, and build new partnerships.
Yeah, have you encountered this before in your work, Holly?
Well, we're always trying to build partnerships, definitely. So, yeah, I've worked on several watershed plans, and usually they're, you know, collaborative, but there's occasionally, people are concerned, like, what's CMAP doing here, telling us what to do. And then it's a process of education that we're here to, to be a we're a facilitator, and we try to bring people together and bring all the various stakeholders together to create a plan that everyone can get behind.
Mhm.
Terry, you have a question? I'm sorry, I overlooked you. Terry? Okay.
Harry, you're on mute.
Yeah, I got it.
All right.
I guess, and I've had a very limited experience with Ronald Novak, but he seems very protective on doing not too much in the city of Hammond. So you think he would be the major source of a lot of things, and I know I tried to have some discussions with him over state line generating, and he avoided that too. And so if it falls on IDEM or EPA or whatever, he kind of dodges the issue. But I was wondering if the Mark Klawinski, the first district councilman for Hammond, was involved in this process at all. He would probably be a good source to get him included.
Yeah, it wouldn't up to that point, after we got the funding, he was not involved. And in fact, we were more concerned about getting the money, because nothing can be done until you have the money, and everybody knows that, right? Nothing can be done until you get the grant. And at that time it just blew up, so we never had an opportunity to get him involved or uh, or anybody else involved in it. But
I think from the council perspective, he should be involved.
yes. Yeah.
Because at least he could be your kind of your voice for the city council. And probably another one would be the new councilman there in the second district, Al Salinas, because the Grand Cayman River runs through his district that ties in. So trying to get him on board maybe too would give you two people.
Yeah.
And the at-large people, I don't know how willing they are to get involved.
I just had a thought as you were speaking. One of the two at-large people, Katrina Alexander, is someone that I have a tremendous respect for. Since I retired, I've had more time to watch city council meetings online and things like that. And I think that she really thinks and, if I may say so, prays about each decision that the council is asked to make, and she does not automatically go along with the vote. I've watched her be part of a minority vote that I felt was the right way to vote, and I actually texted her recently after watching one of the meetings and said, I just want to commend you for having the courage to do the right thing. So I think she's very open-minded, and she might be willing to work with us too.
Good. Yeah,
And then also along those lines too is probably shouldn't forget, especially if it involves grant writing and stuff for the city like this. Brian Poland, the planning department there. Would be somebody to probably also try to get involved with what's going on, because he's kind of involved with projects throughout the city in a more what do you say, instead of in a more general way that especially where it impacts the city, that might be willing to get a little more involved and engaged. And he's got an assistant named Tom Novak.
yes.
That works there. And
He's on my email list and.
yeah, but I mean, and getting Tom involved and understanding the issue might, it's one of those things that sometimes it's about trying to educate people on what you're trying to do and getting the buy-in.
You know
I know it's
Tom?
difficult.
You know Tom very well?
I know him a little bit.
I think he's president of the
Yes, the Historical Society,
Historical Society.
Hammond Historical Society.
And we've exchanged emails without even knowing each other.
Yeah.
Is Tom related to Ron,
No,
but same last name?
same last name.
Okay, not related. Good.
No relation.
Okay, no relation.
Well, okay, he's on my email list, so we got to think about the reason we need these people. We need to invite them to these meetings because at least one or two of them, because we don't have any officials from the city of Hammond that came tonight, although I invited the mayor and maybe 5 or 6 people from that I know, and none of them attended. This history thing, I think it's important to know that for the past 25 years, I've been around working with Hammond. I can invite the mayor to give the luncheon talk at meetings. I've done that before. And he comes in and he gives his talk and he leaves. And all the other representatives from Hammond follow him in and follow him out. They never attend meetings. They just don't attend meetings. And
Getting elected officials, it's challenging,
yeah.
It's not unique.
So so anyway, and so I mean, absolutely no one from the city of Hammond attends. And
Well, if you could, the mayor's chief of staff would probably be your best bet as far as trying to get some kind of relationship with him.
yeah, who I have to.
I know it, and I can't think of it right off the top of my head.
Okay, I can figure that out. I've got a grant application talking about that I have to hand into them. I'm going to drive down there personally.
Yeah.
And, maybe I can meet some people in there.
Some of these people, you're better off doing a little sidebar and trying to work your way in.
It's just one of the things with the watershed. There are 6 of these people, and if you're courting 6 people, it's difficult to keep up with personnel and with it's just hard to do. So
another person that might have some interest in this would be Marty Weeklos. He's the sanitary district superintendent.
is he the one that's being replaced? Is he the CEO of sanitary? Because
I don't think so, but I couldn't tell you for sure. I know he's been.
I heard that Mylan was going to replace going to become the new.
Yeah, right.
Oh no, wait a minute. There's the sanitary and there's the water. I thought Milan was going to do the water.
The water, okay.
Okay.
Oh, I thought it was going to be sanitary.
Okay,
I
I'm
thought
not
that
sure.
was what he was being moved to.
Okay.
Okay.
So if it's Milan, then that should be the contact. But previously, I know it was Marty Weeklos.
Yeah. Well,
but Milan was invited tonight, wasn't he?
Yeah, sure was. Somebody told him not to attend, I think.
I may not get all these names right in my notes.
No, I'll help it.
My best.
Out there.
Can I interrupt just for a second? Do you think it's the timing of the meeting then that they don't want to work you know, after hours, that they stick to their time frame of 9 to 5? That if there was a meeting during the day, they'd be more likely to attend? I don't know, I'm new to this, so. that's
Oh,
just a
no,
thought.
we have meetings at all hours, and, we get, in fact, I've had some terrible meetings, where they all come in, sit down, talk for 15 minutes, and they all get up and leave. It just, how do you explain that? You know, and it's meetings filled with people from all over the area, and they don't seem to care. They just walk in, shout something, or turn around and go out.
Phil Talon is the mayor's chief of staff. It just come back to me.
Yeah.
Okay, what was that again?
Phil?
It's in the chat. Lisa
Oh,
provided it.
okay, all right, good.
Okay, good.
I just saw it.
I wanted to say, Tessa, I've been looking at your query in the chat, and we probably haven't adequately answered that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, apologies, I don't have much of the background on this, but I don't, yeah, I can imagine municipal capacity is lacking in a lot of places, so that's my guess of their reasoning, but I'd appreciate a little bit more information into what happened.
Mm-hmm. Michael, how would you answer that? Trying to look at it from the city's point of view, why are they so resistant?
Well, I had, you know, John Harroff, that used to be, the 10th Ward. I think Holly, you know him.
Not sure.
Yeah, he works for the city now.
Right. And, he was, he told me once, this is when he was with the 10th Ward, and, Hammond called him up and said they wanted to go out and study, and they had a diver that wanted to go out and figure out why there wasn't enough water flowing through Indian Creek, or I don't know exactly what the problem was, and he he couldn't get to the first base with them. You know, they were insistent that such a thing was going on at Wolf Lake, and it wasn't. And it's just a lack of knowledge. It's just like not wanting to go to a meeting because you don't know the subject area, but you don't want to find out what it is either. You just, I don't know. They just, it's difficult for, I can't really explain that. Um, and I can't explain the motives.
Well, I think certainly part of it is that the city is very big on building. You know, we've got to build. So they're gonna build new housing by Wolf Lake, and they're going to build on Clark Middle School, and they're just very, very big about build, and bring more people in here today.
Taxes, and they know nothing and very little about the environment, and it and no need to you know, take on the responsibility of protecting it. And you know, and I go to, and you know, one of the things is in the book I talk about, I think in the first or second chapter, I talk about the big brother and the little brother. And I see this thing, and others, and I've talked to other people who lived in Illinois and then moved to Indiana. And it's just um, I don't know if there's a relationship there between the city of Hammond and the city of Chicago that doesn't happen between Indiana and any other state, or Illinois and any other state, but Indiana and Illinois, I think, just have a problem. And I think one of the things is that Hammond needs to blame things on. So they're always blaming something on Illinois. Well, it's those people from Illinois, and residents of Illinois may say the same thing about Indiana. I don't know, but it's a good fallback, and blaming the state next to you, and so I think that's part of it as well. But I had a difficult time understanding it when I got into all the late 1900s. But I run into other people that just kind of laugh at it and they say, "I know what you're talking about." That's about it. So it's but so that's a kind of a problem, and we have to find somebody that can figure out how to deal with it.
What relationship does NERC have with the city of Hammond?
Good. The answer to that, Bill Emerson would be the one to answer that. I was hoping he could attend tonight, but for example, he and Kathy get along well, and they have the meetings over there. I don't know, monthly, and so, but he's really with the county and not with the city.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how the city gets along with others.
But there might be some insights.
Yeah, I think, I think Bill would be the one person to ask. Terry, do you think so? Are you on, Terry?
Yeah, I'm on it. It's Bill Emerson Jr.'s father is on the city council also.
Yes.
So there's a connection there also.
Hmm.
It's not actually, none of this falls in his district, but maybe there's some at least if you're looking for somebody, I feel in my dealings with him, he's somewhat friendly to environmental issues. Just maybe there's times where he doesn't want to go against the mayor, maybe.
Yes, I actually ran into that with Bill Emerson Sr. When we lived in the 4th District a few years ago. He seemed sympathetic to those of us who were concerned. We didn't want the West Lake Corridor project running right through our neighborhood. And, evidently a lot of people in the neighborhood told him that, they felt it would be a very sad and unnecessary waste of green space, and there were better things like buses that that could be put in instead to help people get around. And he seemed very sympathetic, but when it came to the vote, he voted the way Mayor McDermott wanted. And I actually called him up, and I didn't yell at him, but I said, I was surprised. And he said, well, I couldn't vote against it because so it was all politics. But no, I think part of what's coming out of this discussion is that we really have to find ways to change the dynamic between the city of Hammond and those of us who care about Wolf Lake. Maya, I was just looking at the notes I took when you and I met back in November, and I could briefly share those notes aloud, or if you would prefer, you could take the lead about what we talked about at the time. But in particular, you you were reflecting that the more we get the word out to the public, the better chance we have. But would you like to elaborate a little on that based on
Thank you
your
for giving me a leadway because I had no idea what I talked about in November. Yeah, I would definitely, well, the entire time we were having this conversation, I was thinking, yeah, it sounds like we have to get the community a lot more engaged in this process so that there is this voice that, even from what you're just saying, Valerie, I mean, it may not be heard the first go around, but it seems like there's going to have to be some additional voices at the table that aren't the traditional ones, since they don't, since the city of Hammond is not very receptive right now of us doing this process, right? And so who do they have to listen to, right? Or who are they supposed to be listening to? And so how do we really activate those voices so that, there's more of a presence, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But at the same time, also finding, the council people that we can start, nudging
Yes.
slowly.
Right.
So, it may not be an overnight I doubt that it'll be an overnight process.
Oh no,
Right.
it's a process.
Yeah. It's a,
Um,
it's several years, I think. But I think, yeah. But I think all this stuff is coming out, so I think you have a better understanding of the forces uh, that are there.
I was just wondering, has the group reached out to IDEM in any way? They do have a local coordinator, Raheem Evans, and he would be willing, I'm sure, to come meet with the group, and that's his part of his responsibility is community outreach.
I'm sorry,
And
what's his name?
Rahim, Rahim, last name is Evans, and he's the outreach coordinator for IDEM in the area here. In fact, I think he grew up in Hammond.
I talked to the watershed person. I don't know.
Well, he's more what do you say? He's not specific to a certain section of IDEM. He's basically his job is to go and actually meet with people in the community. And I know he met with the people in Hessville over the Briar East Woods. He met with some people in Highland over things that were going on in Highland. So he's been somewhat. At least the message gets back to IDEM about what's going on and creates some input there to IDEM.
Okay.
And he's got guidelines that he's got to follow to basically get back with you and report to IDEM. So it kind of creates a dialogue there on how you can deal with community aspect of it.
Yeah.
What's his first name, Terry?
Rahim, Rahim.
Okay.
Evans is his last
Evans.
name.
Evans.
Pardon?
Right. Yeah. Evans. Evans.
Yes.
Okay. That's good. And that would be, if we could get two people involved from IDEM, that would be important. But I think it's going to be Hammond is going to be the one that will have to, I think it's our biggest problem. But
And it sounds like some of the same players from back in 2007 are still there in the city council and city staff. That's the feeling I get. Is that
Yeah, and
correct?
I'm not sure even if they were gone, if that same approach would continue. And that, no one would know that.
Yeah, and that's where my, what you're bringing up, the citizenry, yeah, more engagement.
Mhm.
Have you
Yeah,
ever partnered with the city of Hammond on any of your activities at all? Like,
I didn't hear the first part of your question, Maya. Could you?
has have we partnered with the city of Hammond on any activities that you've ever, publicly done? Not any of the closed meetings, but anything that was kind of public facing.
Some of our years ago, some of our festivals, we've involved the city of Hammond. But that would have been, and they've helped us out on some occasions on canoeing when we had our canoeing group for a year or two. We were working together, and then that, but not after that. Seems like every time we get something going, because I mean, we've been the scouts from Illinois and Indiana used to be in the same group, and they work together, and and so on some matters we've been able to work together, but it's only on things that it's I have a relationship that's established at the lowest level or lower level, and we've never been successful in getting um, uh, in working together with the city on anything major importance. And so, and I used to attend some of their meetings. And in fact, when we received the grant, I would go to their meetings. The group for the not-for-profit group from Hammond that received all the grants that came through. They had, I think, monthly meetings, and I attended a lot of those. And at the time, and so we, at the lowest level, groups work back and forth on environmental issues, but it was the major, but that was the extent. And anything major like um, the watershed, they wouldn't touch. And that, in fact, they would get angry at like Wolf Lake terminals when we were trying to work on that. I can remember we had a meeting. We had about 30 people there, and at the beginning of any meeting, in came 3 or 4 from Hammond. We sat down, and for the first 10 minutes, they were yelling at me. I was doing the talking, and they would start attacking me. And actually, it was Dave Daverton that they should have been attacking, because it was anyway. And then they got up and they all walked out. Now, who would do that? Something that you would never see. And I don't know how you deal with it. And there were screaming going on. Our president at the time was uh, what's the lawyer for the federal government? I can't remember his name. But anyway, I could hear Ron Novak cussing him out or something, and he didn't know who he was talking to. And maybe later on he might encountered him, and I don't know. It was but anyway, and you know, that's really kind of, you know, and there were people at that meeting who were from Illinois government, and they didn't care. And it was, you know, and for one thing, after that incident, I just sat back and I said, now all these people know what, you know, had experienced this, and I don't know what they thought of it. It wasn't very impressive. Anyway,
another point of contact you might want to consider would be Representative Carolyn Jackson.
yes, she's great.
She's great. Yeah.
She's also on the environmental committee downstate, so
exactly.
it kind of ties in, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
she's going to have a lot of pressure from the mayor, of course, too.
Yeah.
But I think she should be in the loop, maybe, to help you
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, she is. She is. I think highly of her. So, and from an old Chicago cop, it was at one time a cop in Illinois, in Chicago, and then she ended up there. Yeah, that's really good, and I think she'll attend some of these meetings if you know, if she has the time to do so. Okay, have we hashed this out enough?
I think we got some feeling
ideas,
for where we've been, and
Yeah.
the names. That's great. And Terry, you know a lot of people, and so you've been very helpful on this. Now, I thought that we would have a meeting, bi-monthly meetings, and then the one in November we could coincide with the advisory committee meeting. You think that is a good idea? Bill, you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. We'll see how it goes. Now, there is a question in the comments
Yeah. I was just gonna say.
that, I mean, we've been talking about Hammond on and on, but the thing is, what about everybody else? What about all the other communities? Do you have contacts there? I know I understand the Hammond situation, but that would not be the only community or neighborhood we'd be working with. Have you put thought towards the other neighborhoods and communities?
Well, we had one of the things that Ollie has is that each of those groups, except for half of Indian Creek, are represented, are on our board. So, and that was the way it was in 2007 when this happened. So that's why I knew Hammond knew what was going on, because they had their person was on our committee. Now, he never attended a meeting, but he got the information, and he represented Hammond. Hammond appointed him, and so and so the six landowners were all represented by someone at these initial meetings. So but anyway, what was I?
I would like, excuse me, sorry. I do think it would be good to spend a few more minutes on Joey's comment query as found in the chat. Um, Actually, Maya, this takes me back to the point that you made about doing a better job of publicizing Wolf Lake and what a treasure it is, why it matters. And I remember when we chatted back in November, you pointed out that in particular, people who are relatively new to the area, one of the ways that we make newcomers feel welcome is to share with them what's special about our neck of the woods. And reading your comment, Joey, where you say, I couldn't tell you exactly where my neighbors stand on the watershed or even how much they know about it. Perhaps they don't know much about it. And perhaps getting the word out. I know in the past, Ollie did have, well, of course, there's been the Winter Wonderland and the, is it Wind and Water Festival, things like that. But I wonder if there is a way to reach more people and get them really excited about it.
If your neighbor is 60 or 70, or maybe even late 50s, they know the watershed.
Right.
Anyone younger than that probably do not.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's
Thank you for taking notes, Valerie.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, I know Holly has been taking them too, and I've been taking kind of sporadic notes.
No, I mean from our conversation in November.
Oh, you're welcome.
Is it something as simple as just a flyer that for a certain amount of months is plastered everywhere and available everywhere? I mean, I know Michael's shaking his head. I know that you have information. I mean, is it I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we're I'm just offering that. Is that something that needs to be in the Whiting Library and the Hammond Library? More information?
Everything you can think of, all the different kinds of media presence. How do people get their information? All sorts of different ways.
Right.
Social media, flyers in the library, flyers in kiosks.
Right.
Yeah, any and everywhere you can think of.
Lisa, your scouts would be the best defenders of Wolf Lake, of any group that I can think of.
Yeah.
And not only that, they're by state. So
right. We are by state. We definitely are by state.
So, and there are very few of us that are by state. But anyway, yeah, that's part of it.
It just occurred to me as well. So University of Illinois Chicago has something called the Freshwater Lab. So it's where students like from across different disciplines at the university can, they're looking for a spring into summer project that they can get involved with. And if AWLI, had a project that they wanted to, if you could formulate some sort of, action that you could use 2,400 hours. I think, no, that's the stipend they can get, $2,400. There's a certain number of hours that would be required, but like an outreach and education program.
We just received 27,000 to clean up the watershed for a year. That would be perfect. If that would, because.
So you got a cleanup grant?
Yes.
Through what organization?
Three of them: Cleveland Cliffs, Freshwater Future, and Beamster Bore, which is a local company. And so we have that, and we have that we could certainly work out something with that.
So this group that Holly just mentioned, I mean, it was either today or yesterday, they sent out a mass email to a bunch of people asking for project ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So
So if we had one.
yeah, and Mike, I'll forward the email to you
Okay.
so you can see with it and reach out to, I forget her name. I want to say
Rachel
Rebecca.
Haverlock.
Rachel, that's it. So yeah, I mean, that would be a good person to touch base with too. So they're actively looking for ideas. So Holly had a good idea.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I'll send that email to you so that you can look into it, Michael, and
Okay.
anyone else that wants it, if you
Yeah.
didn't already get it.
Send it to Lisa too.
I got a question on Wolf Lake, couple of them really. The environmental impact on Wolf Lake. I know Kyle Chemical with the original company was a problem years ago, and I don't know whether they cleaned that mess up or not, and what impact it's had on Wolf Lake as far as fishing and water use of the. Because I remember when I was a kid, we went to the beach over there all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
They
Lake,
were
and
really,
then you go fishing there.
yeah, Terry, they were really bad for a while. Remember when that coach died from and they blamed it on that, and they corrected themselves. They're not a major problem.
Okay.
The only major problem there is the Wolf Lake terminals.
And
That's
then the
including Wolf Lake.
the other issue that I know you brought up, Mr. Beamster Boy's name.
Yeah.
You know, he's promised to do a clean closure of state line generating since 2013. And let's see, a little time has gone by and they still haven't done a clean closure of that property over there for the coal ash and stuff.
And
So
you know
that would be,
why they gave us money? Because they item came down on them for something they were doing, and as part of their fine, they said, well, if you gave it to a not-for-profit, and so that's how we got the money. And because of the Wolf Lake terminals, they probably don't like me very much. That's item, but anyway, we worked it, and so we got 15,000 from them, and that was because they did something that even item fined. So if item finds somebody, then somebody's doing something pretty bad.
but this is the problem that they've been doing for years. I mean, you know, years ago, the state line generating got fined millions, and basically there was like 2.5 million that went out to save the dunes out in Dune State Park instead of using that money to actually clean up the site where the problem is.
Yeah.
And you know, so I mean, this is
I've heard that
and
story time and
yeah.
time.
So I
And
mean, this is where, you know, they do these little, I don't know what you want to call it, little small gifts that are supposed to wash away their sins of the past or something, and it's not solving the problems that they've created.
that's right. The money goes to Gary or someplace where they're really needy, but it doesn't go to the home
The
folks
source of the problem.
and the source of the problem. That's right. Anyway. So, where were we? What were we talking about? I'm sorry. I lost the train.
Well, next
What do your notes say, Holly?
topics for the well, I don't know, on your initial kind of
Okay.
letter, like got topics for the next 5 meetings, or at least where do we want to go
Yes.
from here?
Yeah, that's whoever wrote that knew what they're doing. So what should we do next? I'm going to get, there's going to be more people involved, I think, between this meeting and next meeting.
Mhm.
There's a lot of things that I'm going to end up doing, and that's mainly reaching out to more people. I think is important, and from different perspectives and from different angles,
Yeah.
and maybe that would be helpful. But who should we? So, what is someone's suggestions on what we should be doing next? I think we need to find somebody that can conduct these meetings and somebody that knows more than I do about watershed management.
Well, you just need a facilitator. You're not giving yourself enough credit, Michael.
I can just facilitate, and I'm doing well enough
Yeah.
because it's okay. If that's not an important thing, well then we can skip it. But what should we be doing at the next meeting in March?
Well, it sounds like to me, from what I've heard, it would be helpful to understand if some Indiana DEM folks could attend to learn about their, and this doesn't have to be the next meeting, it could be the meeting after that, whatever would work in their schedule. And again, it might have to be a little earlier in the day, right?
Correct.
Instead of an evening meeting, but to understand more about their programs, whether it's DEM, their 205J, which is part of planning, allows for planning through Clean Water Act funds. And then I guess this Lake and Reservoir Enhancement, is it? Program, that's IDNR or IDM these days. Just learn a little bit more about the programs that are funding grants that are available. And then on the Illinois EPA side, we can invite Jeff Edstrom, who works for in the watershed management section, the non-point source unit. He's also involved on the Illinois side in various grants, planning grants and implementation grants.
Yeah, when we had the watershed person from IDEM, I think it was about 4 years ago, and he was at that meeting.
And he might have been with the he was with Illinois DNR Coastal Management Program at that time. Now he's with Illinois EPA.
Okay. So I'm familiar with the water board from about 20 years ago. So I'm going to send him maybe a copy of this video. And I didn't want to invite him 2 days ahead of the meeting because that probably doesn't make a great impression on him. But he's the one. And then Lindsay from Indiana, from IDEM, watershed person, she said that if you make the meetings at 3:30 or 4, or she said 3 or 4, that she could attend. And I think she's too important that we should have her at the meeting. And then Joy, you won't be able to attend, right? You work days. Joey, do you hear?
Oh,
He said his
Joey
mic,
doesn't have a microphone.
yeah, his mic's
Oh,
not working, so he's gonna have to type it in the chat.
Gotcha. So is 3 o'clock a good time? 3 o'clock Central.
Oh, are we talking Wednesday again?
If you like Wednesdays, yeah. I don't have a problem. If you people showed up on Wednesday, so
It depends which Wednesday, because I usually have other watershed meetings a couple on Wednesdays. So which are we?
so
What Wednesday is this?
this is the fourth Wednesday.
Fourth Wednesday. Fourth Wednesday. Fourth Wednesdays. Those work for me.
Oh, okay. Well, let's stay with it then.
But I'm only one person. There's more people.
How about how about others? Can you?
That works for me. I guess I just want to be clear of what our goal is, because I guess I'm confused, not confused, but overwhelmed, I guess, because it just seems like there's so much that needs to happen. Is that, and
True.
so I feel like it's not, feel very overwhelmed. So the goal is to get a watershed plan written that includes Wolf Lake, correct? Is that right?
Right, Wolf Lake Watershed.
And that's yeah, I agree. Sorry.
Not necessarily this year even, because
it's a process.
It's a process, right?
So
right.
I think this next we can learn about so my thought was, we can learn about what's assistance is available through both states.
Correct.
State agencies.
Good.
And, the building relationships, with all the different stakeholders and
Correct.
educate, that'll be a process as well. But at least just understanding what, that's kind of an easy next step. Let's find out what's available from both states.
Just as a newcomer to the game, and I too know how difficult Indiana is to work with, because I tried to arrange a cleanup of Boy Scout Road and got nowhere. And I'm doing the work, right? And I couldn't even get Hammond to shut down a street. They couldn't do anything. So I get that. But I'm calling from Illinois, so they're, you know what I mean? The minute they see a 773 phone number, they're like, forget it. But I'm wondering if they just don't take Ollie's serious or something. Like they don't feel like they have to recognize us, right? Or work with us, because maybe they don't take us serious. Is that right? Or no?
They treat everybody kind of like they treat me. It's not, and at first I thought it was me. I was thinking along your lines, Lisa.
Yeah.
But after a couple years, then I got to figure out, well, it's not me. It's just every,
Yeah. Yeah, because when I tried, I was making lots of phone calls and then finally just gave up, because I thought this is crazy. And now they clean up Boy Scout Road themselves. So they send out workers there, and I'm fine with that. So
but at one time we had scouts from both sides.
Oh, yeah, it was a big deal.
150 people out there working.
Yep, Lever Brothers.
Wow.
Lever Brothers was out there, and yes, it was a big deal.
The mayor would drive through and talk to us, all that. But it just took a couple people there, and now they're my age, and
I think most have passed, actually.
well, and the scouts reorganized into Illinois and Indiana for the most part, except for you.
Right.
So things have changed.
Okay, so as long as I'm clear what we're trying to do, that we're trying to write this watershed, and that would be great if somebody who has written one before, or if there's one that we can see, that one that's written that you could send us so that we're looking at.
Did I send you the papers, that kind of the history of?
I don't think so. Or could you?
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
It doesn't matter, Lisa.
Yeah.
I'll just send it to you.
Okay.
Because that's important. That will tell you a lot.
And I
More-
think again, you know, the landscape in which Wolf Lake is a unique and challenging setting. The
Correct.
flatness of it, the industrial, as well, you know, it's industrial mix with all an open space mix, residential. It's a kind of unique and challenging. The hydrology, the water movement is unique.
People
So
in Indiana see it in one way, mainly some way to make money, and the people in Illinois have a conservationist view
Hmm.
of Wolf
Right.
Lake. And
Right, definitely.
and so there are two, and that shouldn't be a problem. If one side has, you know, wants to do this and the other side wants to do that.
I mean, you can just do it for, you know, I think ultimately you want to bring everybody together and create again, a watershed plan doesn't make you do anything. It just opens up possibilities for additional funding if you so wished to incorporate some best practices. Say, you know, you're going to, whether it's stream bank stabilization, shoreline stabilization, any sort of urban best practice to reduce pollutant load or mitigate flooding even. So it just opens up possibilities.
Yeah.
So, and if we only can open up those possibilities on the, say it ends up being the Illinois side or parts of the Indiana side, because Hammond does not wish to participate. It doesn't mean on the Illinois side, I do something the way I would put together a watershed plan. It still would allow projects on in the Hammond group, you know, because a homeowners association say choose to do something and they don't need the city to go, you know, do a particular project. So there's ways around it, but you'd certainly like to bring everyone to the table, but you can't make everybody come to the table, but hopefully they'll.
But we had the Powderhorn Wolf Lake project over the last 5 years. We've been talking about it, and that was just tremendous.
Amazing, amazing the amount of people that work together for one thing. It's just amazing to me. It just is mind-boggling.
Yeah, and that's what the watershed managers should be doing. You know,
Right,
and
right. Maybe it needs to be something as another suggestion for, and I guess I'm taking up too much time. You guys are ready to end, but you know, I know that Ollie does the walk, does the bike ride and the thing like that. Maybe it's just a simple walk along Wolf Lake with during, you know, the spring or that starts at one end at Hammond and ends at the other end at Hammond, where it's just a simple walk and there's publicity there and some handing out, you know, flyers about Wolf Lake Initiative or something like that, where it's something, you know, no one's expected to ride a bike, or, you know, you don't have to do, you know what I mean? It's just a walk to learn more about the shoreline or whatever.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I got another question. The industrial facilities that are tied into Wolf Lake, I don't think we got any real participation from them, and they're required to do water samples on their discharge and everything, and they could probably provide good information. Some of that you can get through IDEM if you're a wizard on using their Tracy system. But I think they should be voluntary participants and providing information and feedback on what they can do to improve their water discharge or whatever.
Yeah.
Because you got what, Cargill, Lever Brothers, whatever Kyle Chemical's called now.
Okay.
And I don't know what other ones would fall into that category, but those are three major ones.
Cargill was at our meeting in November, and they can become active in this too, if we ask them. I didn't want to push them too much because, but we had them at our all-day meeting in November, and Um, so, and Beams to Roar, I think I could ask them to do things. They might be willing to, I don't know. But yeah, we can get others involved in it.
And
I was
even
wondering,
also the Hammond Water Department would be another one, because you know they have their water treatment plant right on Lake Michigan there, and I'm sure you know their intakes are impacted by whatever flows to Wolf Lake to Lake Michigan. So there's things there where they should probably have some kind of input as far as letting people know what's going on also, because sometimes we're paying extra money to purify our water because of industrial polluters.
Do you know anybody over there?
No, I don't, because the gentleman that was over there, I think he just passed.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, I can look around. I haven't even thought of them, but that's a good idea. Have another 10 minutes. What other topic should we be discussing?
One
Is that
other thing, and it might not be appropriate for this meeting, but I think we should all be aware of the hydrogen hub and the impact that can have in the local area here. Said it's probably not the place for this meeting, but if everybody keep it on the radar, because we need to really push for green hydrogen versus the blue hydrogen, which is basically NIPSCO supplying natural gas to BP and BP pumping CO2 through a pipeline down to southern counties from us. That just creates more pollution and a hazard. So, like I said, it's probably not appropriate for the agenda here, but keep your radar up.
Yeah, I sent your email on that out. Was it to this group? No. So
I don't think so.
so it must have been another group, and I got some good feedback on that, Terry.
Okay,
were
good.
really impressed, as I am, with your work. And if ever anybody wants to learn anything about this in Indiana, let Terry know. And he's been providing an awful lot of information on that. And in fact, we had a meeting with Bill Emerson, and kind of the two of you were leading the rest of us along. And that was a very good meeting. So this should be enough for us at least to come back for another meeting.
I'd like to make a suggestion, please. Holly, you've been typing down some notes on this meeting tonight. If you would be willing to circulate those to us at some point fairly soon.
I will clean them up, yes.
And I think that would just be helpful. And then to the extent that the different people are able, I think prior to our next meeting in March, we should continue the conversation. For example, Michael, I think we've given you a lot of people to reach out to, and you indicated that you'll be rather busy with that. If you could let us know, well, I've written to so-and-so, or I've left a message to so-and-so, just so we're aware. And the rest of us, to the extent we're able to take any concrete steps of our own that we talked about tonight, I think we should just be in communication with each other.
Okay. And then I can circulate the video.
Yeah, great.
and there are some names who we probably mentioned that I don't know. I can.
Right. Did you mention the alderman's name then? Because I know I did reach out to them about
Yeah,
Alder-
Wolf Lake terminal.
right, I did.
And I never gotten a word back from him.
Okay, all right.
Did you?
Yeah, Maria said she would look into it. She was gonna look into her notes from things that have happened in the past, and then but she might have got busy with something else, or so
Okay.
I can reach out to her again, or you might be good just to have a a talking points kind of, or
I
like
think,
something
I think
something you can send me, that then when I see the alderman I can say, hey, I'm going to send you this, can you look into this?
yes, and we'll discuss 3 different projects. This will be one of them. And so because it's important to sit down and talk to him. As soon as he was elected, or shortly after that, I invited him to be on the board because we've always had the alder person on our board.
Right.
And he's the first one not to have responded. I
I
was
to his
surprised.
defense, he's kind of young, and so I think he maybe also was overwhelmed.
Well, I knew his grandfather.
Yes, that's might be how he got elected.
Uncle 65, yeah. Well, and he was a character.
Yeah.
So but he doesn't know that. So
Right.
I'll have to inform him.
I'm
Right.
not writing that down.
Okay. But I did make a note to see, and I will talk with the scouts and see if maybe we can sponsor a walk from one end of Wolf Lake. Not Wolf Lake, we can't do all, I mean, from like in Hammond, right? One end to the other. That we can invite maybe people to attend, to walk along with the scouts, maybe something
It would
like
be
that.
interesting,
Yeah, maybe
if also any city officials who have been, if they have anything to brag about,
right.
they have an opportunity to say, these are some, if there was that big Army Corps, the aquatic restoration activities, just anything, a city
Right.
person could also,
Right.
starts to draw them in, right?
Right. So I'm thinking maybe sometime in May. We do something called Trash the Trash Day, and we typically have done it on the Illinois side. So we we do Wolf Lake on the Illinois side, but we walk along the lake and pick up trash along the right on it. I mean, like on the on the lake.
On the edge.
Yes, right on the edge of the lake. So last year we picked up a lot of ticks too. But
Oh dear.
yeah. So maybe this year we could do it instead on the Illinois side, we could do the Indiana side.
Actually, Hammond has the best bike path around and walking path.
Right.
And so I wanted to say something positive about Hammond. But they do. The bike path is it's great, as Lisa knows.
Yeah, I would agree. It is. Yes.
It's just wonderful. And the North Siders who drive down here and they go to, what's the favorite bar they have south of Hammond, or the southern part of Hammond. But they come down here and I meet them on the bike path, and I can always recognize the north siders coming down. They're not south siders. So, but anyway, it's really a nice thing. And so the next meeting is on Wednesday at 3 p.m. on March 27th, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And so, and hopefully we can, all of us, if we can get one more person to attend, we could have maybe more spirited conversation with twice the people. And by the way, I should mention that two of I think this is what Terry brought up, but we sample water for most of the year, April through October, and both Lisa and Joy are half of the water sampling team. So it's interesting that we have them both here. Right, Joy? And Lisa, correct?
Yes, yep, I do the water sampling.
Oh.
I call it boots on the ground that's what I am, boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground, very good. Okay, so if, let me turn off the.
So I will clean up my meeting notes. I will send them to Michael for distribution.
Okay,